And this has happened to us all today. We who have gathered to acknowledge Max's life. And I now invite the monks from the young R.I.P temple to step forward with their prayer for Max.
สวัสดีค่ะ In Buddhist, death is very significant, even in one life. It is our regard as the end of life, but the start of transition into a new form of existence. A person will be reborn until enlightenment is reached, where the cycle of rebirth ends and one becomes free from limitation of human existence. Reaching that is the ultimate aim of the Buddhist. There are two main meanings for the Buddhist chanting today. One is to remind those who live that the true nature of everything, soul, birth and death, are the perfect truth of these. The gathering provides the opportunity to create an atmosphere of love and focus our mind on the good deeds and attributes. Sharing of this experience can help create peace and happiness to those who left behind. Secondly, the praying is the way to connect Grant with this atmosphere and can help Grant on his journey by sending feeling of compassion and loving kindness to merit. The more goodness and merit a person has around the time of death, the better the next rebirth. Now we start with this luminous poet,
Symbolising the instant that our lives can change. And this has happened to us all today. We who have gathered to acknowledge Max's life. And I now invite the monks from the young R.I.P temple to step forward with their prayer for Max.
Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi Sawakhato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami Supatipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Saṅkho Saṅghang Namami Tisaranena saha Panca Silani Yajama Dutiyampi Mayang Phante Tisaranena saha Panca Silani Yajama Tatiyampi Mayang Phante Ti Saranena saha Panca Silani Yajama.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Dutiyampi dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Dutiyampi dhammang saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Dutiyampi saṅghang saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Dutiyampi saṅghang saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Tatiyampi buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
ตติยัมปิสังฆังสรณังคัจฉามิ
ติสารณะกมนังนิธิตัง
อามะพันเต
ปานาติปาตา เวระมณีสิกขาปดังสมาธิยามิ
ปานาติปาตา เวระมณีสิกขาปดังสมาธิยามิกาดัญชาลีอันทิวรังอายาจทาสันติทาสัตตาปราชาคาชาติกาเดเสตุธรรมังอนุกรรมปิมังปัจฉา
โมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะวิปากธัมมาวิปากธัมมะธัมมาเนวะวิปากะวิปากธัมมะธัมมาโอปาดินนุปาดานิยาธัมมาอนุปาดินุปาดานิยาธัมมาอนุปาดินานุปาดานิยาธัมมาสังกิริตาสังกิเลสิกาธรรมาอสังกิริตาสังกิเลสิกาธรรมาอสังกิริตาสังกิเลสิกาธรรมาดัสเนนะปะหะตปะธรรมาภาวนายาปะหะตปะธรรมาเนวดัสเนนะภาวนายาปะหะตปะธรรมาอาติตารัมมนาธรรมาอนาคตารัมมนาธรรมาปัจจุปันนารัมมนาธรรมาปัจจาชาตปัจจโยอาเสวนปัจจโยกรรมปัจจโย
If we offer the Yororo to the Buddhas, we can bring the merit through the people who pass away.
What is this? What is this? What a guy like this one. Just follow.
Just please, thank you. And,
จาวัตสังขาราอุปารวายธรรมิโนอุปจิตวานิโรชันติเตสังอุปสมโมสุโขสัพเพสัตตามรันติจามาริงสุจามริสเรตเทวะหังมริสามินาทิเมเอตัสังสโย
ยะถาวาริวหาปุราปาริปุเรนติสาครังเอวะเมวะอิโตดินังเปตานังอุปกัปปติอิทิตังปัจวิตังตุมหังคิปะเมวะสมิจจตุสัพเพปุเรนตุสังคปาจันโทปนะระโสยะถามณิโชติระโสยะถายิติโหวิวัชชันโตสัพพะโรโควินาศโตมาเตภวัตวันตรายโยสุขีทีคายุโกภวะอายุวันโนสุขังบาลังอดาสิเมอากาสิเมยาติมิตาสักขาจะเมเวตานังดากินานังหิตายาสาธานาโสภกัปปติโสยาติธรรมโมจะยังนิรัสสิโตเมตานาโกจาจักตาอุราราบาลัญจะภิกขุนามนุปฏินังภาวันตุเต
The entire service, including words of committal, will take place here in this chapel. At the conclusion, you're invited to step forward to place a flower on the casket to say your own goodbye. You are all then warmly invited to remain for refreshments in the adjacent lounge, which is just up this little pathway. Absent today are Graham's children in Australia: Clint, Luke, Holly, Jackson and Samantha, and also in Australia, Graham's brother Robert. The long distance is really felt at a time like this. I welcome you now all by live streaming. A special welcome to Graham's siblings, Lorraine, Kathy, Mark, John and Paula. As you all know, Max died unexpectedly 2 weeks ago, leaving those closest to him in shock and grief, especially Jida. Max had a huge love for Jida, who he met around 10 years ago, and she was the major part of his life. We represent many more people who knew Max during his life. His death brings remembrance of other loved ones who have passed before him. May this service bless those sacred ties which bind us to those who have gone before. To you, Max's family and friends, for you life will seem strange and different without him. Because for you, he's always been there, holding the stories, holding the memories, the laughter and the songs. One of the important reasons for having this ceremony is so that we can gather up some memories Max leaves us. Memories which we can take with us into the future as we travel on without his physical presence with us. The end of life is a time when we can celebrate anything we've been able to give, to share, to receive. We don't grieve for anyone we've not loved. And although it might not be quite so obvious, when we love, we unwittingly undertake to pay for all the joys and privileges of that love and the experience of the grief of parting. None of us know when this is going to be. Yet the event of death has a way of uniting us in a way that perhaps no other human experience does. It reminds us of the special and unique way in which we relate to those people who cross our pathways in life. As you know, Max was a member of the Choling Monastery in Dairy Flat. Its members have already held ceremonies there for Max. However, I would now like to read one of the Buddhist prayers for the dead, which I just thought was really beautiful. May I know myself forgiven for all the harm I may have thought and done. May I accomplish the profound practice of koa and die a good and peaceful death. And through the triumph of my death, may I be able to benefit all other beings, living or dead. This is a simple ceremony. Max will be spoken about by those who shared his life. And to begin, I'd like to invite his brother John, please.
Graham would phone me up just about every week. And the last time I was talking to him was the Tuesday before that Friday. And he sounded happy and excited about coming up on the weekend. My brother Graham he went about things with passion and vigour. And one of them was about motorbikes. My brother Mark and I were at my garage next to my motorbike talking about our motorbikes and with Graham, who was visiting that day. And Graham claimed that my ute is like a motorcycle, 2 seats, mast, and all that. And I said, but Graham, it is not a motorcycle. A few weeks later, Graham bought his Triumph Bonneville and then set about riding 30,000 kilometres in the next year, in the next 12 months. That's bigger. Yeah, Graham enjoyed riding his motorcycle. We all enjoyed riding our motorcycles. Our uncles rode motorcycles, and our father. And we went on many rides with Mark, the three of us, brother Mark, down to Napier to see our sister Paula. And one time down to Harvey to see our sister Lorraine, but Mark peeled off in Hamilton at that time. And up north to see Warren. Yeah.
His other daughter, Samantha, is not part of this. So they can be here as well.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kathy. I'm not the eldest daughter, I'm the middle daughter. There are three of us in our family, 3 girls and 4 brothers, so we're quite a big family. And Graham's the eldest. And Graham really set the pace for all of us. He really knew how to make the most of his life, even from when he was little. He would be what I would call a multifaceted diamond. It didn't matter which cut he had put on him, he knew how to come out and do the best he could with whatever he had in front of him. He was quite amazing that way. So my memories that always come to my mind is living in our old house, which was an old Kauri villa, the really wide sawn thing, really old house, and he was assigned the front sunroom. And it was such a privilege to go down there and join him and play Monopoly and other games. And Mark was his, how would you describe yourself? So Mark was probably his second in command with games. And Graham would actually find ways of cheating to make sure that he would always win. But he was good. He was an amazing brother. And he left, I've just got some pictures here. He left a really neat legacy for us to grow up with. He was involved in sports. Here's a picture of him playing hockey with a lot of people from around our area, our district, Waipō District High School. And some of those players he ended up representing New Zealand with hockey. He was playing tennis. We had quite a strong tennis club in Waipō, and he was an excellent tennis player. And he was representative of that. So he even became a prefect while he was at school. So we had a lot to live up with Graham. Lorraine almost matched him, didn't you, Lorraine? With everything. Yeah, she did really well with all of her sports endeavours as well. So we're a really neat legacy of my mum and dad is Graham. He was the eldest. He left us quite young. How old was he when he went to Australia?
16.
Oh, I thought he was 16.
He was quite young. He had left. Yeah. So this is he was an amazing guy because even over in Australia he started up a couple of businesses, which he ran really well. But he'd always come back and be part of our family. So this is a Christmas. I'm not sure whether Lydia's in my tummy there or you, Gareth. But he'd always come back and make sure he connected with the family. Here's another one here. Mum and Dad are in this shot here, I think. Yes, Mum and Dad are there, and they're visiting Graham while he was in Australia. So Mum and Dad used to go across regularly and meet up with him in Australia as well, to be part of his life. Here's another picture of him when he had a land. He was always a dashing young man. He took on the thrills of being fashionable. He loved his long pointy shoes, and when the Beatles were out he was right there with them and just looked fabulous every time he went and did anything. Was our Graham. He was an amazing guy, even when he was younger. Here's another one of him in one of his cars, or I think it is one of his cars, or did he finish that off with that? I'm not sure. But our dad was really involved with cars in the way he taught all of the brothers how to put the cars, take them apart, put them back together, because it was always so expensive to have cars in those days. So they learned a lot from our dad, and Graham carried it on. And here's a pretty suave picture of him over there with his long hair. With his long hair from that
from that 70s time. So yeah, I would describe him as a diamond. Sometimes he was pretty rough, especially if you're a girl, but for everything he did, he tried his best. He was really good to have as the eldest brother. So yes, I wish you well, Graham, for your next journey. And we are going to miss him because he's come back to New Zealand to really be connected back with us and was ringing John for hours every week, really, for a chin wag. So yeah, he's been a big part of who we are as well, as the world he was building with Gina. And he was building a neat world with you, Gina.
The neat gatherings they had at Kathy's place, and their little, well, I don't suppose you call it a man cave, but a social area, good gatherings there. And the motorcycle rides that me, John and Graham went on were pretty cool. For a start, they were a bit hair-raising, John and Graham in particular. They were like a couple of wild bandicoots, really. And then eventually I had a few quiet words to them on the side, and they settled down, and the rides became a lot of fun. And the last one we had, unfortunately, was out to Raglan, and then we came back through to Hamilton and watched the last Pyro street race. It was to be, if we didn't realise at the time, but it became that. But that was a really nice ride. Got a good photo of that day, and yeah, it was all good. It's all good. We had a lot of fun.
And all I ask is a merry yarn from a laughing fellow rover, and a quiet sleep and a sweet dream when the long trip's over. Max was a musician and a guitar player. We shared a love of music. David Gilmour was his hero. So as we pay our last respects, I have chosen a classic Gilmour track. Remember when you were young? You shone like the sun. Shine on, you crazy diamond. Shine on, Max.
Kia ora koutou katoa. My name's Warren. I've been mates of my mate over here for about 17 years. Me and my daughter we were living up the coast, and we saw this sign, learn to dance rock and roll. So I said to my girl, "You want to learn rock and roll, girl?" And she goes, "Yeah." So I didn't know how to dance. She didn't know, so we went along and joined the club there, and that's where I met my mate here. He had long hair and a cowboy hat then. And we've just been mates ever since. Ride motorbikes, party, and then we had parties up home where Bo would come up. I came to our wedding as well when we got married. Bo was here. I know he'd be really wrapped with the service he's having here with Boris and that. It's really mean. Gita. Thanks for looking after my mate for the last 4 years or however long we've been together. I know his quality of life. He's been happy as, and thanks to that, Gita. Like I said, the boy's gone, but our relationship doesn't stop. Same with Max's family. It was going to be easy. I got a couple of messages from Australia from Luke and Holly. So we'll get up. Starts from here. Okay, this is from Luke. Always up for an adventure, happy to just be around, willing to do whatever had to be done. My dad. The last time I saw my dad, we spent nearly a week together, and it had been almost 6 years since we spent any time together before that. Too long in between visits, for sure. We both agreed on that. I guess that's why we went out for the pancakes at 11:30 at night. That's right. We didn't want to miss out on our chance to hang out, to look around and see my 6-year-old eating pancakes and drinking milkshakes with you after midnight. It was very special. I feel very fortunate to have spent time with you this year. I'm very thankful that my sister Holly's wedding was an event that could bring us all together. You weren't perfect, but who is? The love you showed for me, for my family, was true love, and we all loved you in just the same way. It was difficult to say goodbye this last time in Sydney. It was difficult because we didn't know when we would see you again. If we would see you again, but we hope we would. I want you to all know my dad was very special. He was very special to me and my family. We would all be there right now if it was possible to do so. However, it is not. I only had one dad. I love you, and we will all miss you. Love you, Dad. And this is from Holly. My brothers and sisters, I are very sorry that we are not present today, but Dad is always in our thoughts, and we will be giving him a service when we all get together in Brisbane. Dad is a father. He loved adventure and exploring new things. He loved taking us camping, horse riding, go-karting, and to anywhere we haven't been before. Weekends with Dad we usually spent exploring new places and trying out new pastry shops. I remember he would always take me to explore a new park or playground in Sydney. We never went to the same one. Dad was kind, loving and caring. He loved spending time with us. I know he always regretted not being a part of our lives more, but I always felt like I was getting special treatment when I was with him. I am very grateful that he came to my wedding in April and met my son, his grandson. For the first time, we shared some special moments, but I wish we shared more. I gave him a hug goodbye, not thinking it would be our last. It definitely wasn't his time to go. He had many more adventures to be had. Dad, we will miss you, and you will always be in our thoughts. We love you. That one was from Holly. So I was lucky enough to the bro rang me up, and I think it was a mate, said, "Oh bro, I'm coming up to Waipu, going to go out for breakfast." So I said, "Yeah, I'll come over, bro." It was his birthday, and it was me and John and the sissy Kathy, and not knowing it would be our last time with the bro, but you know, it was just good to have that whanaungatanga, that time together then, and yeah, but I mean, he's left a legacy. He's just a real nice guy, and I'll miss my bro, as we all will. Kia ora.
The different facets of a diamond, and this will be shown shortly as the next music track I chose, and it sounds a bit rock and roll after our beautiful blessings and prayers. Nevertheless, it's David Gilmour and it's the most reflective track I could find, and we can sit for a few moments together thinking about Graham. He would love this. The title is Asana, which means in memory of, and this track is called The Endless River. So we can listen to this for a few moments and then I'll be concluding our ceremony. We come into this life, and in this life, in essence, we remain. Not just as a living memory within those who have known us, but more, much more than that. All we have been and done, our little contributions and achievements are important. They remain here. Each one of us, however humble, will always be a part of this life. Because we have lived, the world will never be quite the same again. With these words in mind, let's be grateful and thankful for Graham. Shortly, his body will be cremated. In saying goodbye, know that nothing can now detract from the times in his life you shared with him. Nothing can possibly affect the depth of experience that he himself knew. Your love for Graham and his love for you, his family and his friends is not altered. Remember Graham as a living, vital presence he once was. Please stand. As we commit Max's body to the elements, we do so with love, as his body was the home of a unique and beloved personality. His spirit lives on within and among us, and the memories he leaves will always be cherished. May you, who are gathered here, find comfort and richness in these memories. Grateful for the life that has been well lived, and for all that life has meant to us, we now leave Max in peace and in quietness of spirit.
Friends are invited now to come forward and place a flower in the casket as a final tribute to Max.